Hello and welcome to another video tutorial on how to use Matlab. In this episode I want to show you the user interface. So here I already started Matlab and it should look similar in your version. First of all, we have the command window over here where we can type commands, define variables, or execute simple computations. So for example, if I type 1 plus 2 equals 3. We can also save variables like a equals 1 and b equals 2 and calculate with those. Next we have our workspace over here with the listing of all the variables we have defined with the value, min and max value. And also we have ans, which stands for answer, which is the last computed value. So we can also type ans here in our command window and we get the result for it. Every command we have typed in the command window is displayed in the command history. We can also use drag and drop to change commands we have typed. So for example, we can set now a equals 2, then from now on a is 2. With the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can also look at the last commands you have used. So for example, a plus b, with the a we have just changed, would now equal 4. You can check this by looking at the workspace. As you see, a was 2 and b is also 2. For all those who have asked themselves why we have this min and max value over here, this is because we normally not only define one single value for a variable, but multiple in a vector or matrix. So for example, D should be a row vector, and I type a square bracket, and then the input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, close square bracket, press enter, and now we have a row vector of this, which you can also see in the workspace over here. If you want to create a column vector, it is similar, but instead of space, you set a semicolon. So E equals square bracket 1 semicolon 2 3 4 5 and close square bracket. Press enter and now you have the column vector E. And this is the same scheme for matrices as well. So if you want to define a matrix, like matrix 1, you type the first row using space as a separator. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the next row, you press semicolon and then type in the next row. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Close the bracket and press enter, and now you have the matrix with the 2 rows and the values from 1 to 10 as minimum and maximum. If it gets a little too confusing in the command window, you can use the command clear command window, short CLC, to delete all the display of the command window. You can also use the command who to get an info about the workspace you have right now. And if you want it more in detail, you can use the command whose. Then you get a listing of all your variables you have defined. And if you want to delete your workspace, type in clear all, and then you will see that your workspace now is empty. Another tab is the current directory, in which you can see what files you're using, for example M files, and also the links in your directory are shown here. If you want to change your directory, you can press these dots here and, for example, select the desktop, and then you will see what files are on the desktop right now. If I now create a new folder on my desktop, for example, first exercise, then you see that it shows up in your current directory as a folder. I just go into the folder right now, and because we don't want to only use the command window, we create an so-called M file. So I just click new M file and I'll name it my first M file. And if I double click on it, it will open my editor. And I'll integrate this editor into my user interface right now, so I can see it here. And now I can type all the commands I normally would type into the command window into the editor. So for example, a equals 1, and b equals 2, and I can also use the matrix I have just defined here and save it. And just to check, my workspace was now empty. And if I want to run my script, I can press this button. And now I see all my computations are done and my workspace is not empty anymore, but it has the variables a, b, and my matrix 1. And now we can start scripting. We can also oppress the output in the command window by typing a semicolon. So we now normally have the output of all our computations here. But if we type in a semicolon at the end of the line, save it and run again, then you'll see that the matrix is not given out anymore, only A and B. And to oppress the earlier commands, we can type CLC in the beginning of our script. Then if we run this again, only our commands from this time are shown in the command window, so only A and B. And if we type semicolons also here, then our command window will show nothing. You can also type disp for a display in your command window, for a short text here. This way my text end of M file will show up in the command window if I run this. It is useful to not only type CLC in the beginning of the script, but also clear all to clear the workspace. And also close all if we have any figures or plots that we just created. It will close all of those. Then save it and run again. The last thing I want to show you are shortcuts. Some commands are used quite often, for example clear all, close all, CLC, and to not type them in every time, there's a way to speed it up. To use it, we just type all those commands into our command window, select all of those in our command history by pressing Ctrl, right-click on it, and create shortcut. Now we have to label it, and for this I use CCC. It should also open up in our toolbar of shortcuts, which is above here. And as an icon, I use the Matlab icon. press save, and now our shortcut of clear all, close all, and CLC shows up in our shortcut toolbar. I'll just delete these other shortcuts because we don't need those. And now if I type anything into the command window and then press CCC, my workspace will be deleted and the command window and also all the figures or plots I have opened would also close. Thank you and see you next time.